watch, just type Smooth FM Lagos in the search box and you can catch us live. Fisayo, Onome, Rotus, over to you.
All right. Happy Independence Day, Val, Onome, Fisayo, Lagos and beyond. Is technology, and Nigeria is 61 years old, and I just wanted to have us have a roundtable discussion. Is technology the only good news coming out of Nigeria? I wanted you guys to reflect. Fisayo, I'll start off. Is technology the coming out of Nigeria? Lagos, I want to hear your thoughts as well.
I mean, technology is definitely a good news coming out of Nigeria, but I won't say that it's the only good news. I mean, of course, typical to what Nigeria is, they try to take every good news away. So even technology is struggling to keep its good news status, because of the impact of regulators and of course politicians, on the operation of technology. I remember there was a time when I was in investment banking, and then also one of the biggest rating agencies, I think it's Moody or Fitch or something, was doing a rating on a Nigerian bank, right? And it was like, okay, that was meant to give the bank some A type rating, but it said the bank cannot get a rating higher than that of the country, right? So
that's a problem.
If the country is B minus, there's nothing you can do that will make it better than that, right? So it's what it is, right? So the state of the country is not the most exciting to many people, but of course there are some other things that keep us here, that keep us, that give us the willingness to fight, and then to try and make our country a better place, I guess. But technology is definitely a good news coming out of Nigeria.
Thanks, Fisayo. Onome, what's your take? Is technology the only good news coming out of Nigeria at 61? Again, happy independence. I don't see any celebrations. So anyway, Onome, go ahead.
It's definitely not only the good news. Maybe it's the one on the front burner, right? So, but you have entertainment, right? Nigerian entertainment is all over the place. It's global, right? So that's definitely good news, So, but if you look at it, technology has also enabled the entertainment industry in Nigeria, right? So you have streaming platforms that enables artists to earn income. You have streaming platforms by which people can, watch video. With streaming this, for instance, that's technology, right? So it's been a good enabler, right? But I also feel that much as technology is shining at the moment, it could do much better, really. It could probably, Spotify and the likes and co probably do better if we had more Nigerians who were earning more, the telco firms and co would do better if the cost of laying fiber optic cables, and the protocols involved in laying those cables were, was much cheaper. So yes, tech is doing well, but tech would do much better if we ran government in a more organized and I would say pragmatic manner.
Great stuff. The Andela news, Andela. See, and I want to actually get like this. Andela, of course, $200 million funding round. I think Series E. SoftBank is behind it. Valued Andela at $1.5 billion. Fisayo, what do you make of? I'll start with you. Fisayo, what do you make of the news? Is Andela an African company? We have to touch on that because it's being said as an African country, which of course African company, launched was here in Nigeria and then took off from there. So I want to know the news and whether we can really celebrate as an African story.
Of course, yes.
Sorry, for our viewers, what does Andela do? Sorry, please define what Andela does for our viewers.
Okay. So Andela has changed, morphed, in different ways since it started. It started as I don't use the word sweatshop, but it started as a platform where developers from Nigeria, from African countries, are able to work on projects, for companies globally. Right. So that's the general idea, because of course, the bet Andela was making is that technology talent in Africa or in developing nations could be as good as technology talent across the world. So what if I give these technological talents in Nigeria and Africa the opportunity to work on global projects? They probably become better. And I bet on some training model as well, saying that, okay, if I'm able to get young talents into a pipeline and train them, give them a residency program, train them, and then use train them first and expose them to great projects. They become better as well. So that's the bet Andela made at the first place. But right now, I think they've cut out the training part of the business, and then of course the residence program is also out. But they still bet on the fact that yes, they're able to have their technical talents still in Africa and working on projects remotely globally. So that's essentially what Andela does, and of course the global companies pay Andela, then Andela pays these developers, right? So that's essentially what Andela does first. So the question is that, is it an African company? So again, there are different questions around how do you define an African company, right? The truth is that most of the African companies that we know, even the Florida of this world, they're not necessarily registered in Nigeria. So it's not about, they're registered in Nigeria as subsidiaries, but their group holding company might not be in Nigeria, right? So registration alone is not the place where how to determine the Africanness of a business. The second thing is around the second definition. The second way people think around if it's an African company or not is where does it make its most revenue from? For instance, Jumia, is some people argue that Jumia is an African company, but of course it makes a huge percentage of his revenue from Africa, from within Africa, right? So that could help qualify that as an African company. And of course, for Andela specifically, right? There are stories around how it was founded, the founders of Fora, Inyi, Nadoya, and of course, Jeremy and his own partners, Andela, all of that, who are, so it's a mixture of both Africa but when they started out, they came to Nigeria first, to try and build out this business from Nigeria. And then, of course, they expanded that to Rwanda. But of course, the idea is that they get developers from Africa to work on global projects. So with that in mind, and of course, Nigeria was the first port of call, I would argue that yes, we can accept. Not like accept. We can argue that yes, and Andela truly is an African company, and of course, the founders don't doubt that, right? So that's the position of the founders as well. So I would agree with what the founders say. It's an African company. It is an African company. That's what it is.
Thanks for that, Fisayo. Onome, what do you think?
I think Fisayo has summarized it, and I also like to look at things from the points of impact. Right. So clearly, when you look at the origins of Andela, you had an African co-founder. You've had lots of foundation staff that are Africans. You've had, roots in Nigeria. So if you have roots, if you have co-founders in Nigeria, then by all means, you're an African company, right? Incorporation purposes and and all those things, you might have other structures, and that's fine, but by all means, you can trace all the Africanness in the company now. So I don't think that's arguable. Yeah.
They have many African investors.
And
yes.
They have many African investors.
Okay, great. Many African investors.
All of that, yeah. Great
stuff. Guys, Gokada apparently is starting up operations in Ibadan. I guess, the ride-hailing space, especially with the motorcycles, and so the whole pivot from rides to logistics. You see, I don't know. I want to get your take on your take on the news. Then, is Lagos? If you're not making money in Lagos, are you making any money anywhere in Nigeria? Fisayo, what do you make of the Gokada news?
Okay, so I think it's interesting, right? First, I'll have to, again, side with the Lagos government here. Before Gokada really started the physical operations, the bike hailing business had been banned already in Nigeria, has been restricted in Lagos. So I have to put that out because it has been restricted already. What the governor just did was to enforce the law that was there. But of course, we can also argue that there has been selective enforcement of laws, right? Similar to what had happened to Aboki FX when the CBN just rose up one day and remember that there was a law that prevents people from publishing parallel market rates, right? So we've seen that happen. And of course, the same law that banned Gokada, and then somehow the bikes are back on the road today, So it doesn't just make sense about how, law enforcement has been done. But the truth is that the law has already been there, passed before Gokada came to Nigeria. So that said, to Lagos. But that said, right, going to Ibadan, is it Ibadan is the next biggest city outside of Lagos in West Africa, at least Western Nigeria. at the minimum. I think the pivot into logistics was good for Okada in Lagos. But I think my biggest concern is how the city of Ibadan is going to handle bikes. If you've been to Ibadan before or in recent times, you'll see that the bike population seems to be on the increase, on the rise, right? There's Safe Boda in there. And then, of course, there's this typical, Okada that is, very big. I mean, when I go to Ibadan, I typically don't use, if I'm not driving my car, I'll just fly by from anywhere because I think I'll just fly around the city. But of course, there are safety concerns around it as well. Like, okay, how would you handle, accidents and of course emergencies that come from that? Because a lot of people that ride bikes, they're not the best. They're not best trained people, right? The helmet, was enforced at some point, so suddenly it stopped being enforced, right? So there are concerns around how even the city of Ibadan will have to react to bike in the city, right? And how the government has to deal with that, because the government has been the shining light of good governance. I don't think they want to change that public perception of them, right? But of course, the concerns are still there. The concerns are still there. If you're driving in Ibadan, you get the bikes flying, left, right, and center by your side. You have to be careful how you do that. From your right side, you're not even looking at this. From your left side, which are a lot more conscious of, right? So I'll have to wait for the government to think around how he's going to handle that. But I think that some regulation of how bikes operate, anywhere in the world is required.
Fantastic. Onome, what's your take? Thanks, Fisayo. Onome, what do you think?
I think I would have preferred really if they had maybe pivoted into logistics and we're going to move into, in quotes, let me use the term bike logistics in Ibadan, because ultimately, when you look at it on a larger scale, this whole biking thing is not a sustainable means. It's not a proper means of transportation, right? I mean, yes, we have to use it. In some cases, roads are bad, traffic and everything, but in the long run, it's just really not a sustainable thing to do. So I won't be surprised in 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, could even be 8 years down the line, Daniel will come to judgment, as they say, and decide that, you know what, we're not going to have bikes here anymore. And then, so, and also for me, I suspect they're tinkering with it, but I would rather see them pivot into something else, because when you look at it, they probably have worked with thousands of riders. They have data that they can use to pivot into something else. So I'm sure they would be experimenting with something behind the scenes, but that to me would have been a better pivot, because, nothing stops, whether we like it or not, there's insecurity around the country. There's insecurity associated with bikes around the country. So don't be surprised to expect those similar issues crop up in the Southwest and here. And so once that crops up, the fact that, government is receptive for a policy today, they can wake up overnight and, shut it down. And to me, once you've had precedents in Lagos, there is every likelihood that the next state will tell you, hey, this state did it before. And so, you know what, we're going to do the same thing. We shut it down. So, it's good business for them, but if I them always have one eye on the exit, have a plan B always.
Regulatory risk. Nigeria at 61. We're talking about regulatory risk. There you go.
All right, quick messages before we wrap up because we're out of time. Oano Chuko says, IBB deregulated the broadcast industry and Obasanjo deregulated telcos industry, which has enhanced or have enhanced the industries. So Baba Goslo and Boroboro, we are waiting for you. Thank you for that. Dele from Aja says, hello news geeks. Have you heard about a certain company called Starlink? Elon Musk's internet from space, technically a subsidiary of SpaceX. It's the next internet technology on the planet. Jeff Bezos has started his Kuiper. Steve Wozniak has started privateer space. It's a challenge to fiber optics. I hope Nigerian legislators will encourage space internet technology. I haven't grappled with fiber first. Let's start from where we are.
To be honest, most people can't afford that.
Exactly.
Most people can't afford it. That's the reality of things. We're still in the country. People are still doing 100 naira a day or doing something 200 naira a day to browse every day, and which looks crazy. But the fact is, someone doing 100 naira a day, that's what they can afford to do every day. So, it's nice.
You know what I would do if I was governor? Yeah. It's totally random. I'll pick out the hot spots of like where you have serious traffic in Lagos and fix free internet on those axes. Maybe not for the drivers, though. For the passengers. But guys, thank you so much for this lovely conversation as always. Happy Independence, guys, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Right?
All right, thank you.